Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have a double page spread for you today using one of Marlene's giant paper elements. So first I'm going into my journal and I'm just going to tape 2 pages together using some stencil tape to make sure that my pages don't shift. I grabbed out this girl from the paper element set, and hold on to your horses, but I'm cutting off her hair because I wanted to give her rainbow hair. I always say there's always a way to fix things, so if I didn't like what I did, I knew that I could put that hair back on and make it work somehow. So I've gotten her onto the page and I'm just sketching in her new hair, and also I'm extending her top. I didn't gesso this page, and I obviously didn't do the background first. I wanted the colors to be really vibrant on that hair, so I decided I would do the background in the end. So I'm just dividing that hair up into sections and working out where the colors will be, and just refining it a little bit. And I'm going to go in with my colors. Like I said, I'm doing a rainbow page, or you would have seen in the beginning there. I'm going to use Kissy instead of red. Then I've got hot curry. That is the yellow that I used is the brighter one. It's not called cheesy. I think it's called happy. The green I have mixed I think it's called Boom. That is Marlene's neon green with a little bit of white, and I do add a drop of the Envy in there as well. Then I've got Mermaid, Fuchsia, and Ballet. There we go. Those are the colors. And I'm just going in rainbow order, and I'm popping that color down into the different sections. I didn't want to use the red because I don't really like working with red. So at this stage, I thought that I would go onto those sections with a little bit of stenciling, and I thought I would do that with red. I did not end up doing that, but I really like the way that it turned out anyway. So I'm just filling up those gaps, and I really like the way that the green turned out. It's almost Lumo, almost pastel-y. It is a really bright green color that I managed to mix. I'm pretty sure that if I tried that again, I would not manage it. But I felt like this green really lifted the page and just made all of the other colors pop as well. Now I'm going in with my mermaid color, and yeah, I'm just following the curves, filling in the gaps, and making sure this girl has really bright, beautiful hair. I chose to use the fuchsia instead of the royal, which is Marlene's purple paint. I thought the royal would be a little bit too dark, and the fuchsia feels to me like a better blend to go from blue into pink. And when I'm done, I'm giving everything a quick dry. These paints were pretty much dry anyway by the time I got finished. But I did want to make sure that they are bone dry before I went on to the next step. Now I've mixed a little bit of red, which is Ho Ho Ho, into that Kissy paint because I just wanted to do some shadowy bits. And then I'm also mixing, I think it was the Kissy into the orange, and the darker yellow into the yellow bit. And I'll mix a little bit of green into my other green. So I think I just went in with Envy for that one. And I'm just doing the edges, so where I would imagine the shadows would be. and then a couple of lines in that strand of hair as well. And you'll see how that immediately just adds a little bit of movement and life into that hair. It's not just a bland patch of color, but there is some movement happening there. For the blue, I mixed some azure in to do those shadowy bits. In the fuchsia, I did add some royal, and in the ballet, I just went in with some kissy. And now that hair has a little bit of dimension, it's not done by far. There's still a lot of work to be happening in that hair, but for now, I'm really happy with that base of color. For the top, or her dress or her shirt, jersey, whatever that may be, I'm extending the colors that are there already, and I am also extending my paint over the little piece of the paper element that's there, just to make sure everything blends together. So I've gone in with lavender, ho ho ho, happy, fuchsia, mermaid, and the green color that I mixed. Really, I'm attempting to finish what is on my paint palette so I don't waste any paint. And now I'm going in with my paint pens, and again I'm just extending the pattern that was there already. So that lavender bit already had red dots on, the red bit had those little white hearts, and then I'm just going in with lines and dots to fill in the rest of them to give her a really interesting and funky top. And then I think I'll start going in with some black and white, yes, outlining that girl, and then adding some more black and white details in there. Okay, I'm back to the hair, and I'm going to work kind of tone on tone with my paint pens. And I'll first go in, well, on some of them I went in with the light first and then with the dark. Other ones I just did the darker bits, and I'm just extending or adding more lines just to create more movement and depth, highlights and shadows into that hair. I do find with hair, if you just keep adding lines and upon line and build up those layers of lines, it all comes together in the end. So for the black, I went in with Marlene's paint pen for thicker lines, and I'm going in with my thinner Life of Color paint pen, and I'm just adding more lines. And I'm also going out of her hair with that black pen. So I'm adding little strands of hair that's coming off of the color, just to, I guess, again, add movement and not to try and make it look not so blocky or controlled, I guess. And then I did the same with the white paint pen, added some strands, and now I'm adding some dots in her hair as well, little pearly bits, I guess, could be. And giving all of that a proper dry. Then I wasn't sure about the lips, and now that I look at the girl on screen, those blue lips could have actually worked nicely, but in the end I chose not to do that. So I tried to draw some little stars, because those purple lips on the side there had stars drawn on them. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll try that, but it didn't work. So I rubbed it away with my finger before it could get dry, and I'm just going to go in with my coloring pencils and add a little more color to the lips, and I've re-added the highlights, and I'm coloring in some pink cheeks. I'm also going to boost the color of her eyes. I'm going in with a darker blue and then a little bit of a turquoise mermaidy color blue And again, I'm just brightening up the highlights. I've also drawn in her eyelashes that I cut off before. And now I'm going to start thinking about what I want to do with the background. So first, I've still got quite a bit of paint left on my palette, so I'm just popping it into my rainbow journal. That is more of an altered journal, so I'm not concerned about what it looks like at the minute. I know that once I get to that page, I'll be able to do something with it and make it work. Okay, now I'm going in with Marlene's pitch paint on a sponge, and at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to do crisp, clear shapes in the background or if I wanted to make it a little bit grungy. So I thought, let me try it out again in my rainbow journal and make it a bit more of a grungy stencil, but I thought that wasn't going to work with my girls, so I decided to clean up all of that. And I'm going in with a fresh sponge and I'm just going to go in with that playing card stencil and do a nice crisp, clean stenciling all around her. I'm trying to decide if I want the shapes to fall off of the page or if I wanted to do a border. And then I decided, no, I think they should fall off the page. So I'm extending that stencil a little bit over the page. So I'm only getting half of that top row of shapes. And then the endless stenciling starts. I am taking care around the hair to not go on top of the hair, because obviously I want the background to look like it was a background and she's sitting on top of that. So I really didn't want those shapes coming on top of the color that I've got there. So I'm going quite slowly. I've got very little paint on my sponge there. The trick to getting a nice crisp stencil is to have barely any paint on that sponge. You're sponging that paint into the sponge itself, like it looks like there's nothing on there. And then when you go into your stencil, it's just a light up and down pouncing movement. And you never smush down that sponge through the stencil, otherwise it will bleed and look messy. I don't often do this, but I did do this time. I'm just giving my stencil a good clean. I usually do it on a little piece of fabric or my scrap cloth there to make sure that otherwise it just gets wet on the bottom, and then I have to turn it over and then it gets wet on the top. So I find it quicker and easier to just clean on top of my rag. I'm going in with my Stabilo All Pencil, and I'm just going here and there, not around the whole head, not around all of the hair, just here and there where I would think I need a little bit of shadowing. So like more on the underside of the hair and the underside of that curve. And then I'm just blending it out with my wet paintbrush and making it nice and shadowy, making that shadow look not too harsh. And you'll see my Stabilo All Pencil, they always go very, very mushy. I actually have to keep them in a dry box that I keep my photography equipment in, because the humidity here just wrecks them, and it doesn't help to sharpen them or anything. That they just stay soft. So that's what happened over there. That's what I showed you on my finger. Okay, I'm going to look for a quote, and I chose BU. And I tried the BU, so I cut it around the edges there to make it nice and neat. I didn't want it so blocky. And I liked it, but I felt like it wasn't enough. And then I went back into my book and I found two others. The one was Be Weird and Be Bold. And there was a little bit of fiddling around with with getting the placements right and getting them. And then I decided, no, I want them skew. And then I said, no, I want them straight. So I do trim them down a little bit because I don't want to hide all of that background. And I do cut the words loose from each other. And then there's a little bit of faffing about to get them to work. I did get there in the end. And as soon as I get there in the end, I will add some Stabilo All Pencil again, just on the left side and underneath. And I'll water activate that so it looks like they are floating on top of that background. So at this stage, I thought that I was done, but then I thought, no, the shadowy bits need a little bit of something extra. So I took out the Artist Diary stamp, and it had that, I think it's a club and a clover that's on there. And I'm just doing some stamping into those shadowy bits and coming over her hair a little bit so she looks like she belongs. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching and being here. Please leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. If you have not done so yet, please subscribe, and I will be chatting to you very soon again. All right, that's it. There's some close-ups, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.